Call this meeting in order. Stand for the pledge, if you please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Yeah, my great grandson turned 15. He's got his learner's permit.
It's all over now.
Yeah, he's driven my truck already. So,
Amendments to the agenda.
I do have one. I got a call this afternoon about 30 South Main Street. I'd like to add negotiating real estate under 1 VSA 313A2 to the executive session.
that'll be G under new business or whatever.
Executive session.
Executive session. Okay, I'll forget that then.
Okay.
But
There's,
you don't want to put down the 30 Main Street in that,
no. Just,
you don't wanna
no,
write down
Push put
30
real
Main
estate.
no, just real estate, yeah, I think that's,
Just the real estate.
even though it's kind of, we've already said it out loud, so. but Make that, somebody wanna make a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we add that to the agenda negotiation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Anything, anybody else?
Is Jay not expected?
He is not gonna, no, he's on his way south
Oh,
to Daytona.
that's
Darn
right,
it.
that's coming right up.
Sunday.
Another sure sign of
Spring.
spring coming. All right, minutes of January 28th.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
Additions, deletions, corrections. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. 5 minutes for public comment.
I relinquish my 5 minutes.
Send it back to the chair. Okay.
You're right. Sort of late.
Just in time for department head report.
All right, so for January, I don't have the official report to give you, I just looked. We had 10 arrests, we had 164 calls for service that required either criminal investigation or more follow-up, and we had 500 calls for service, 412 calls for January. The guys are being proactive, they're out. I've tasked them with being some initiatives. One guy is going to the walking center every shift, walking through, trying to make a presence because they don't get a lot of service out there. Again, I'm proactively walking through Shaw's and Dollar General to try to assist maybe on dropping them staff. So I'm really, really happy with the crew we have, and they seem to be really energetic and out doing, trying to be more visible.
That's good.
Good.
That's community policing, that's what we wanna see.
And then the other one
That's
thing
what I wanna
was,
see.
we still have the Dodge Charger in the barn. We have a kid that's supposed to do 10 hours of community service and move a traffic ticket. He works at a garage, so the plan is for to have him de-strike the car. It has no lights or anything in it now. It's been sitting in the barn since we got the other one. And then hopefully try to get it out for sale around tax time and get it cleaned up and have it. It's hard to sell a rear-wheel drive car in the wintertime, so our goal is once the stripes are off, get it cleaned and then try to put it out for sale, set a price on it. Try to stay within that price. Versus going out to bid if possible. The last 3 cars we sold that way, and we've been really successful in doing that, and then put the money back into getting towards our next replacement.
I was gonna ask you anticipated revenue, but I'll let you negotiate that. You have a bottom, you have a baseline or,
I'd like to do like 35 on the low end, and I'm shooting for right around 4. It has 115,000. And I've been looking, like, you check Facebook Marketplace and you check Craigslist where they're going. That's about the right range. So I'd like the bottom line to get 35. The 4 range is kind of what I'm thinking. I don't want to give it away.
yep,
You want to have it ready by when? What did you say?
Spring.
When it sprung.
Just when the weather breaks and it's much nicer to sell a nice looking black car with rear-wheel drive, and it might be more appealing than it would be trying to sell it now. So again, we still have to get the stripes off it, and I'm trying to coordinate around with a kid on community service, or we can maybe not have to pay to have the stripes removed.
questions for chief?
Good.
You're up?
Okay. So I think, I'm not sure if I told you guys at the last meeting or not, but bridge grant number 2 to the EDA was submitted.
You did.
I did, okay. Passing on that one. But talking about bridge grants, I did have a debrief with the federal DOT last Friday. The build grant was the program that we applied to for the $1.1 million. We didn't get the money. I'll say that before I say. We were in the bucket that was the to fund list. We made it to level 3 of, yes, this is fundable. We weren't as fundable as others. If we need to, I'm gonna apply for that again next year. I'm pretty confident if I have to do it again, I'll get that money.
Is that for the bridge again?
That's for the bridge again.
Joe, I had, not to interrupt you, I had one, while we're talking about grants, if we could, back to us again. The Homeland Security grant came out for, has to be in on February 28th. We're actively trying to replace our radios in the car. I know I tried to put away some money to fund that, and I know a suggestion was made, I think by Rod at one point, when you were on the board, was that we would pay for that out of our emergency funding when the time was needed. I'm hoping that we could get this grant possibly that would be 100% funded, and that would replace every radio that we had, from portables to each. They're around 20,000. So we're actively trying for that, and a live scan fingerprint machine. We might cut down some time and some mailings if we got the live scan. So
What's our, you said 100%, or what's our commitment?
I don't know the match yet.
Oh, okay.
We're in the process of that. There's an application process, and we just started it today. The sheriff's department sent it to me last week, and I talked to Joe that we're interested in doing that. So we're gonna look at, and I'll come back to Joe, or if it's not by the next board meeting, to say if there's gonna be a match to that, or if there isn't. The radios to me are the priority, because at some point, I don't know who was on the board then, at some point it's all gonna go to digital and has to be this P25 compliant. So if they flip the switch, we are done, as far as radio avenues. So if we can get that off of Homeland Security, like we had gotten the Vicom grant, which we got the radios that we got back when I started here in I think 05 or 06, we'll be compliant, we'll be up to date, and hopefully that will last another 10 or 15 years or more until they come up with the next change.
Is that like high band?
I'm not sure the bands, but the bands aren't gonna change as far as your VHF and UHF, high band, low bands, but it'll be like a narrow band and digital instead of being now analog. So that's the wave, and I know the state right now is capable of doing that with flicking the switch. But they know there's a lot of departments out there that aren't capable of doing that, so, and I don't know what the long-term goal is. I talked to Otter on a two-way radio. They had spoke to dispatch, or the powers to be around dispatch and radios, and they have no date when they're gonna do that. So it could be 5 years, could be tomorrow. I think we would have to notice, obviously.
Well, that would be my question, is why wouldn't they give people enough time to even plan?
Yeah, well, this has been going on that's why I think I approached you guys before about setting some money aside for that. And, so they've been talking about it probably for the last 4 years. We've been kind of inching up towards, but I think the decision was made we would pay it out of the emergency fund when we had to.
If we had to. But if we can set the money aside, that, we should have dealt with that in the budget maybe.
Yeah,
But hopefully you'll get the grant. The grant doesn't involve us having to be someplace else, does it?
No, the grant is 100%, it's Homeland Security grant, and that's not highway safety, there's no other, that's just to upgrade what we're capable of doing here and being compliant. So if they will cover that equipment, we will be golden, and probably we'll have those at the end of my career, hopefully. Sorry to interrupt you.
Talking about tax sales, so I finished up the research on that. We'll be sending out letters saying properties are going up for sale, probably next week. The insurance company, I reached out to them, they gave us the go-ahead to open up the ceiling in the fire department. I'm working with the fire chief and Ellis Construction on moving that project along. The carrier beam that runs down the center has a crack in it. So we need to ask the engineer to give us either how it can be replaced, or if it, not replaced, repaired, or if it even needs to be repaired. So we'll wait for his report. Speaking about Poor Town Hall, last Friday, a big pine tree fell over and creamed us, for lack of a better way to say it. No real damage. One window was cracked, a small hole. Window upstairs, one of the single pane was broken, and a tree branch did come through the wall. But other than that, minimal damage.
Fixable.
Yeah, I'm gonna shimmy up into the attic on Thursday. I wasn't gonna do it today because I'm in the suit. But Thursday I'll shimmy up in there and see if there's any obvious signs of injury.
You, have people that can do that too.
Yeah,
You realize that.
I do. I like to see though.
I understand that.
There might be
Hands-on
some
is hands-on, but.
sleeping spiders up there.
That's where we keep the gold bricks. That's where the gold bars are.
We may need those.
You might have,
Yeah,
our old
Do you
person,
need help?
yeah. That's me and Claire are going up.
Joe, a fellow by the name of Mr. Stockwell has probably been up there and investigated everything that was up there.
Mm. Well, that's I'm under the impression
He's
it's
not
gold,
talking
so I'm
much.
going. Yeah.
Huh?
He's not talking much
No, not
lately.
anymore. Thank God.
Town reports are at the printer. We'll get those on time. That process is cruising right along. The Today Show is coming to town.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
No.
Like I said, today, tomorrow?
March 4th, they'll be coming. Some of Chris Stanton? No,
Oh,
the goat.
The gold land.
Stanton. Yeah, his math class is gonna tally the votes for the
Oh,
pet
cool.
mayor, which are only 9 of them. So the Today Show is gonna come down and take some videos and do a little story.
nice.
Yeah,
We made it again.
oh, I think that's just neat.
yeah.
Fourth grade will tally the votes?
Are they for? I don't
Is
know.
that what
Whatever.
you said?
No, Chris Stanton's math class. I don't know
Oh.
what grade he is.
Has anybody talked about the conflict of interest between, the goat's owner
The goat's owner
being
telling,
the tally of the,
No, but you should bring that up.
some of the other candidates might.
One of the other
find that-
candidates might.
There is a
Deal.
bake sale on the 22nd for Murphy, that's
Oh.
running for mayor, having a bake sale to raise funds at Shaw's.
Nice.
I don't think, does Chris have a candidate?
The goat is
Chris's.
Chris's. Well, not.
Oh, Chris Stanton, I was thinking of the other Chris.
We got a lot of Chris's.
Or,
Well,
Oh,
that's good news.
or the,
All right. So and we
the goat's human is Chris.
No, you can't bribe the gold, can we?
Put that.
we have to really thank the police chief and Dale, and then Linda, who owns Murphy. They've done a great job advertising this. It's because of them that so many people have taken notice. We have raised about an extra $1,000 just from random people across the country. So every little bit,
That's pretty cool.
We'll get there.
This is as long as people don't try to get our gold.
you're receiving money from around the country?
People hear about it and
Wonderful.
Yeah. It's not a lot. It's $5 or $25.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it helps.
That's the way Bernie's getting funded.
And cousin Laura, my cousin Laura, who I haven't talked to in 10 years,
Saw the
contributed $50. Which is like, hey, thanks.
You bribed her, didn't you?
No.
She bribed him.
Yeah, she bribed me.
Well, I tried to put it around the other way.
And if I could get just another minute, so next week is my 2-year anniversary to be here in Fairhaven. I guess I want to start by thanking the folks in Fairhaven and the board for even inviting me here. It's been a wonderful time. We've done a lot of things, big stuff and little stuff, not just things like the salt shed. We've done a lot of policy strengthening local government. We've done a great job with the budget, saved $60,000 last year just in insurance, changing insurance companies, just asking. We saved a ton of money. And with the board support, it feels like we've created a good sense of community with the Fairhaven Fridays, the goat thing, the concerts in the park. I like to say it's not just taxes and tickets. We're having a good time. We can enjoy the town. Cleaning up properties. If you guys didn't know, I think it's First Street or Second Street. There were 4 cars out there.
Oh,
First
the
Avenue.
star.
First Avenue.
Those are pulled out of there.
They're gone.
There was one left.
There's 3 out of the 4 are gone. So
That's a wonderful
It
thing.
was just a matter of, the company was supposed to come and get it. I had talked to him at the final court, so he withdrew his appeal. I I dismissed the tickets in lieu of his compliance, which I
Good.
explained that was all we were looking for.
Yep.
And he thought the last one would be gone that day of court, and obviously it's still there now, but if you go look at it, it's been mashed up, kind of.
Crunched up.
So it's in the process of being, removed.
Did they have to cut a lot of trees?
No, they went in a sideway.
Okay.
Took them all. So it looks like we're almost over the hurdle, and I explained to the judge that if obviously the last one wasn't removed, we would revisit it through another traffic ticket. But he assured me that was not the case, and it would be removed as soon as possible.
Great, that's great.
Amen.
So just to keep preaching, we've done, so with the help of Bev, we managed to clear out the backlog of unpaid taxes, or we're getting there. A lot of everything we do, and they don't get a lot of credit, well, that's not true. They're the folks that you don't, that doesn't sit in front of the camera and talk about this. So folks like Bev and Jenny and Pete, they do such a great job. I've never worked with a better group of people. And the police chief and the fire chief, it's been a real pleasure. It's not always rainbows and cupcakes, so if I gotta take your house, or I gotta tell you no about something, it makes people mad. And I understand that that's just part of my job, but I want Fairhaven to know and the Board of Selectmen to know, I hope I can be here for another 20 years. My goal is to see Jeff's daughter vote for the first time. So that's my goal right now. So on that March, whatever day that is.
Will you need help to get there, or?
No, I'm only 41, man. I'm doing good. So, and that's all I have.
That'll be another, what, 18 years.
What is his contract?
18.
I'm just doing some math there.
We got time. Anything else?
No, that was it. Thank you for indulging me on that.
Congratulations on 2 years.
Yeah,
Good job.
Yeah.
We're trying.
I've got a whole bunch of stuff here about that. Missing one. 4. Actually, I got 5. I got John gave me 2.
Did he fill up?
So, which is nice. Okay, old business.
Yeah.
Updating the personnel policy. I have a couple questions. You wanna do any highlight, or you just,
I think,
Go,
why
go right ahead.
don't we start with one and go right through?
You take them, please.
Not really.
do you have,
I just went through it and, on page 3. Regular work hours for the road crew, I thought it was in the union contract, 7 AM to 3:30 PM.
Where are you?
Page 5.
No, one more, Bob.
you got
One more
page
page.
3 here.
Well, I didn't count the front index. Next page.
I think it's on page 5.
Okay,
That
fine.
was, those hours when I put them in there were a guess on my part.
Oh, okay.
No, we'll
So,
send
and
you-
the reason it's highlighted there, along with you had to plug in the information.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
whatever those hours.
And also,
are.
unless the road
Seven.
commissioner or the road foreman, and we don't have a road commissioner, so that should be kind of deleted. I read otherwise.
Only 30 minutes.
We never know, we may have to give somebody a title.
Well,
Do we,
Try
well,
not to
on
create
another
another one.
document, so what do we call, we don't call them the,
Department
it's
of
not a
Public
road,
Works Supervisor.
superintendent?
Supervisor.
Superintendent,
Department of Public Works Superintendent? should replace that
Superintendent, I
one.
think is the official title.
I didn't,
Because what you see in the document, when you see the highlighted areas, there was a choice to put multiple things in. I left them highlighted so you could say, if I'm wrong,
yeah.
anything you see highlighted, go back and look close at it, because I'm not sure of the information that's sitting there. So that's like the 8 to 4:30, if those aren't the regular hours, then you said the regular hours are,
Feels like it should be like 7.
what?
I was wondering about the next one down. Should it be like 7 a.m.?
If 7 AM is right.
I mean, for those guys,
yep.
they're all kind of
7
supposed to
o'clock.
be here by 8, so, or earlier, right?
So, no, if you're not gonna come in,
Couldn't they,
call in by 7?
I don't know, what's their other policy? What's like the union contract?
What does it say in the
anything?
contract on
The
that?
union contract doesn't address that.
Well, it just
It
have.
doesn't address calling
time
in.
period.
Calling
Yeah.
now. It just says-
So maybe just do 8 because that's the start. Leave it the same.
Leave it as-
That gives them,
The same.
these guys are in at 8, the office is in at 8, right, yeah.
Like as in, and page 1, anywhere, anything you read in this policy, on page 1, about the middle of the page on persons covered, if there's a conflict that exists between this policy and any collective bargaining agreement, then the bargaining, the latter will take control.
Right.
So we try to make this a policy that will have some lifespan to it.
On the hours, would it be easier just to be hours set by the supervisor? So that way, if for some reason they change 8 to 4 or it changes to 6 to 2.
Well, it also is in there in your contract. I think the DPW guy, supervisor, can change the hours of a day's work if they worked overtime the last day before, and they're gonna have to come early in the morning, he can set that up different.
Yeah, I think that's addressed though.
It's addressed in the
That's
language,
addressed,
it's
yeah.
addressed in the language
Yep.
in the document.
Yep,
What they were trying to do on the hours of service on page 5, when, over there, was to just get to, so if the normal workday is 7 o'clock, we were saying, till
3:30,
to 3:30,
yep.
it's just changing that to 7
Yep.
to 3:30.
And road commissioner can be deleted,
And we take road foreman out and put the DPW superintendent.
or why just.
So they,
whatever
so
you wanna
the,
use.
yeah,
and just so we're clear, page 1, what was highlighted was town manager is the one who, this personnel policy will be administered by the town manager or their authorized representative, good. When you go to the next on probationary period, it's the, during the probationary period, an employee may be terminated at any time at the sole discretion of the, they had choices of select board, town manager.
We don't need it.
I put town manager in there, as long as we agree
Good.
with that.
Yep, agree with
That's,
that.
that's good.
it is.
On page 5, where we talk about the regular hours, shall be posted in the town office, is that a true statement?
I think they are posted, yeah.
I just want to make, and Monday through Friday with a 30-minute unpaid,
Lunch hour.
time for lunch, is that a true statement?
It is.
Okay, so that's good. We've looked at that. At the bottom of page 5, outside employment. Prior to accepting an outside employment, employees will disclose their intent to do so in writing or obtain prior clearance from the town manager, that such employment does not constitute a conflict of interest.
10-4.
I see you're making a face over there, Joe.
No, that's good. I don't know how applicable it will be, but it's nice to have.
I-
Yeah, no, I agree, it's good.
And again, the language, this is the attorneys from Vermont League of City and Town put it together. We can play with language, we play too much, we might have to pay our own attorney to come back and look at it to make sure
We also have that in the policies that I did for the department. It says
Yep.
that if somebody wants a double badge, it's upon approval and request.
That's a good point to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say that where it may be the most applicable is you guys.
I was really pleased with the prohibitive conduct on page 7 too.
And when you're looking at page 6 and 7, you'll see nothing's highlighted in either of those, that's the
Right.
boilerplate language. When you
And,
go to page 8,
That top thing is out, is that what that is?
well, I will let, I know, I'll let Joe talk to the line going through it.
Yeah, that was my edit. I didn't want to completely remove it, but let the board review it.
And so,
It says responsible consumption of alcohol off municipality premises at town-sponsored businesses or social functions is permitted, and then so on. I'm a person that sees liability everywhere. If it's a town-sponsored function and I have folks drinking, it's
We're not gonna have a town-sponsored function where there's drinking, because
Well, that's the
I wouldn't,
point.
you won't be buying the dram insurance. You won't be able to afford
well,
it.
well,
That's-
and let me use the example of why you might, when we did the tasting
That's what I was
down there, understand it, there are, there are functions that town employees are going to. All it's saying is, it's limited, responsible consumption of alcohol is with the
And
key
and do
words.
do we need an outside consumption permit to do that?
Yeah,
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
he gets
but
one.
when I saw the lines that went through it, I went, yeah, okay. This was trying to be more specific on the category.
But
If you don't
you're-
need that, it covers a lot of where there's no drinking and
In
everything
those
else.
kind of instances, they wouldn't be working for the town if they were at that function, so that this wouldn't.
So
And
if you go,
if we had people that were picking up and then I would say because they're gonna have the trucks, I would say they can't even do limited,
Yeah.
you know, or responsible. It's not responsible driving and drinking and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. What's your feelings? Because I have no problem with his recommendation of just striking that one out.
it would be such limited
Yeah.
permission that it doesn't seem like
It
it
doesn't-
matters.
seems
wouldn't
like
have
it's a lot
practical
easier.
usage.
It's a
No,
lot
I mean,
easier for the
what would
insurance
it-
companies.
What would it hurt to leave it in?
Oh.
Because you're not gonna, what would we have, a Christmas party and potentially
Once
is that
again,
Thursday and
the-
Friday?
Right. The key sentence is the last one that says the town expects all employees at such a function to behave in a professional manner in accordance with town policies. So it says, it doesn't say you can't drink, it says drink responsibly and don't do something foolish.
But if it's a snowstorm comes up and everybody's had something to drink, nobody's gonna be able to plow snow.
Well, if they were on
That's
call,
happened
they,
before. Yes, it
So
has.
one thing on that is I've always wanted, and I don't know if it goes back to the union, if somebody's involved in a car crash with one of our cars or town, I think they should be subject to
Yes.
a alpha sensor,
I
minimum.
I don't know that you can do that. And I'll tell you why. Skyline, in every plant outside of the state of Vermont, if there was an injury, if there was any kind of on-site injury, they immediately tested them.
We didn't do
The
that.
state of Vermont, we couldn't do it.
Right.
So I don't know that you can, but it's worth finding out, because you're right. I mean, you'd wanna make sure that, you know, bus driver or whatever, whoever it was, you'd wanna make sure they weren't.
There is a highlighted area in that same, in a couple paragraphs down where we say, in addition to this policy, and again, the policy deals with prohibitive conduct that you have. It says, in addition to this policy, employees who operate commercial motor vehicles, CMVs, for the town are also subject to the provisions of the town's CMV drug and alcohol policy. Now, if, and I pulled and
Maybe-
looked at the CMV drug and alcohol policy that we have for the town, and I'm pretty sure for people that have DOT,
Yeah.
there's the
It's
testing.
a lower,
I didn't see the level that it would bring you to check for alcohol
Well, CD,
if you were
Yes.
not DOT.
yeah, CD is half of the, other people's
yeah,
4-0.
it's 4-0. I still think you have to have some sort of,
Reason.
yeah, you have to suspect.
We couldn't, I know that my experience at General Electric was, we could not do a test.
No, it's the state of Vermont.
Might,
And it was from
might
my-
have somebody go home, but you couldn't do a
Right.
test.
Yeah, that's what we ran
Just
into.
food for thought, that's all.
Yeah, I mean-
Thought about that.
But it's a good.
It-
So
we all
what did we
agree.
decide on that paragraph with the lines to it? Are we keeping it, deleting
I
it?
keep it out.
It's what, it's
What's
the
the-
pleasure of the board.
I don't think it matters, does it?
You mean?
One way or the other.
Leave it in or?
Take it out.
It's,
But it has been vetted, I mean,
Oh yeah, this is the language that came with the policy.
right, so it can't expose you to too much. Or is that you think it exposes you because you've given them written permission to do it?
There you go.
well, it would be the subject of the town manager.
I looked at it as I'm saying, do I want to put the additional responsibility on Joe?
It's a, you know, safe,
To give for people to apply and to come out and someone say you didn't live. I worry that someone would say you're not living to your policy and we wouldn't always remember to do it. So I don't have a problem with taking it out for that reason.
I think take it, take it out.
That was my.
If we're- you know.
Further
have to be
down.
Responsible for themselves.
Further down on this page, and I'm just gonna charge right through the
Yeah,
English.
go ahead.
Under tobacco, let's see, no, tobacco
Next
use
page.
was, let's stay with it. Performance evaluations. And this is the one where employees may be subject to job performance evaluations at such times in such a manner as the town manager or the town manager's authorized representative deems reasonable. The results of such evaluations will be submitted to the employee's supervisor, and the town manager, and will become a part of the employee's personnel file. It's only because there were different, you had choices of putting different things in there, but that sounds right? Okay. Moving on to page 9. The reason I highlighted the guidance is because there's some social, this has to do use of town computer system is the title of the section 16. And in there where it says the provisions in this section will, while not required by statute, are important and inform employees what constitutes acceptable and prohibited behavior when using municipal computer system, resolving reoccurring issues concerning retention of computer passwords, and eliminating any expectations of privacy employees may have if a municipality intends to monitor electronic communications. In addition to this provision, municipalities that use social media may want to adopt a social media policy to provide standards and procedures for the appropriate use of social media when conducting town business. And so, and that guidance goes out of this right here, but when you're reading what's here, especially with our website that we have and we update in the day and age, in this day and age of Facebook, probably not.
And other problems too that can arise out of that.
So,
You see back on the same page, down to the next to last paragraph, and there isn't anything in there pertaining to porn or personal use.
Well,
I think that, again, I look my only reference is I looked at the old policy from 1985. And
Right
so
on.
I really believe we need, in this day and age, something
About porn.
for use of social media and for using computers and what's basically what the verbiage here boils down to is don't put anything on the computer that you wouldn't put on a document that you do, the hard copy document.
yeah, not to mention you're wasting the time. I mean, maybe that's a whole separate policy that it does say,
And that
it does say maybe we should
This is
adopt.
primarily use of equipment and computers. It doesn't get into social media very much. You almost have to apply your reasoning for what you would put on the town computer to social media.
You don't think it should have a thing on that next to last paragraph on page 9 about porn use and that kind of stuff?
Well, they
We're talking about
do,
developing a whole policy,
Okay.
you know.
and they do include inappropriate materials that are
Right.
passed around on the computers in that, which would include porn in the verbiage.
I would hope nobody ever did that. but-
Too late.
So that's the 10 pages that we have.
I mean, actually, we got through it pretty good. I not had any problems with it.
Yeah, I've got the old copy here, there was a couple. And actually, you answered one of my questions, because anything that the union contract supersedes, then
Right.
it's,
First page.
okay, that was good. Yeah, cause I was wondering about, our bereavement policy, for instance, is a lot different in it.
Oh, right, well, this is a 28-page document, you're only looking
Yeah.
at the first 10.
Right,
There's a
right.
whole bunch of bereavement, and what's,
Yeah, we'll have to go through that,
It's
okay.
covered in
All
our
right.
union contract anyway.
Yeah, it is, and it's pretty specific.
and I went
It
in-
actually gets into,
I actually went
Uncles,
went
aunts.
into the contracts that we have and transferred it over into this policy here, so hopefully, I needed your sets of eyes to make sure I got it right when I transferred it over.
I don't think I don't think the Pope dies, she get 40 hours,
No.
but I may be wrong.
And then we're gonna have to deal with family leave too someday.
Okay, so that's the,
And I think as we get closer,
Somebody
like this
probably
first pass, it just seeing it for the first, talking about it for the first time, but once we put it cleaned up and put it all together, it'd be great so that people in the audience and people can, and that we put it up, I think once we get a little closer, it'd be a good thing.
yeah, and we'll have one more person who's dealt with that too on, by the time we get to Carol.
An expert in it.
Yeah, I would, she's done a lot of union work too. Is that it for that then,
Yeah.
for the time being? Thank you. Thank you. it's a lot of work, appreciate it, Glenn.
Good to go.
Okay, motion for listers equipment, which,
I can do that, Bob.
okay,
Motion to extend not to exceed $3,000 for the Listers Equipment Capital Reserve Fund for the purchase of 2 computers and services to set up and connect the computers to the town network.
I'll second it.
you wanted to speak?
I forgot I put the motion in there, but yeah, so the board approved the purchase of the
But we
computers,
didn't-
but
Not the setup.
it wasn't specific,
Not
and
quite.
Jenny said you should get a motion on that, so,
She
Thank you, Jenny.
picked on me about that.
yeah.
Okay.
Do you understand what we're doing? We've already agreed to pay for
Yeah.
the equipment, now we're just,
Getting it set up.
we're, you know, it's like when you get your free printer with your computer,
You know,
then they sell you the $25.
The
Plug.
coins are- yeah.
wireless, Bob, wireless.
Yeah, I know, this was a few years ago, I'm still mad about it. Everybody understand what we're doing?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And it probably should just be noted that that's reaffirming the original motion,
Yeah,
Right.
it
rather
does.
than spending the money twice.
Right, we're not spending any more money than we already approved.
Right.
It's just also use the funds.
Well,
As
we
we
actually,
noted, it's just-
that's not the way I understood that, guys, let's,
No, no
We-
more money.
It's no more money, all but we didn't say the connection, we just said the
Okay.
computers.
Yeah.
I
We
didn't
say where to
understand, I thought we were gonna be
The purchase
costing
was
out more.
approved, and now you're paying
You-
for it, is that what I'm?
No, no,
Now we're paying for the
it's just
setup.
this connection part.
Yeah, okay, so that's involved in the 3,000?
Yep.
Okay, all
The
right,
board agreed
No
to
additional monies.
not to exceed 3,000, but in the first motion, we didn't talk about the actual connection to the system.
Right.
So we just want to be clear that
all right,
where the money's
Okay.
going.
I see, all right, I misunderstood that. Okay. So, new business, motion for interest to remain in general fund, which is there as well, we have.
I thought we were doing that already, Joe.
No, so right now, the interest is moving into the emergency fund.
Oh, okay.
The
I know.
board
Okay.
at the last round of budget decided they wanted to move that into the budget revenue, and to do that, we just let it sit in the general
Right.
fund. And that'll be expressed in your budget packets each meeting.
Okay.
Make the motion, I got it.
Motion to retain all interest income in the town general fund with the intent of applying that interest to the town's annual revenue beginning July 1, 2020.
I gotta have that sheet of paper.
I can give you.
I'll second that.
And my question is, why wouldn't that interest stay with the reserve account that it's dedicated to?
That's the first.
So right now, all our big pots of money are generating interest.
Right.
And they go to the general fund, but then once a year, Jenny moves it into the emergency reserve fund. Just the interest. Just the
Well, I know, but, so the emergency reserve fund, but the interest is generated by all the other reserve accounts, and why wouldn't we move whatever
$50
interest?
to each one.
Whatever, you know, I know it's
To its respective
minuscule.
account.
I know it's minuscule in some cases, but, I'm just wondering why we wouldn't, keep it at the dedicated, you know, where it's earning money, and why wouldn't it go to that, and, you know, cause if it goes to the general fund, my fear is,
It's used for
We'll
things
buy
that we don't
something.
really.
No,
you know, that we'll buy like, tire chains,
Yep, just as an example.
just as an example.
Yeah, well, you are buying things. It's just that it's, instead of it being pulled out and put over in the,
it offsets the amount to be raised by taxes.
yeah, exactly. It's now money sitting in that money that's going into your general fund is no longer being pulled out. You're actually counting it as revenue. It'd be like if we sold a couple of police cars, that money goes into the general fund, and then in your revenue line, it shows police cars were sold. Same with this interest.
Isn't that gonna
It's gonna
affect
sit
our,
in there. It's gonna sit in there, and then as the months go by, you'll see that number going up in your budget sheets. Does that make sense?
my question
But I don't
is,
mind it going to the.
won't that make our revenue, expense go down that we're putting in our budget?
I'm sorry,
Won't it drop our revenues down before we going into our budgets?
this is gonna increase your revenue.
Right, I get that.
So the board can decide well, this time we budgeted $10,000 in revenue. You could decide to move it somewhere else, but we've already budgeted it.
Are you saying, because it's revenue coming in, I'm just trying to understand what we're talking. I think what I hear you saying, Bob, is you're saying instead of putting the revenue in one place in the general fund, you want it to show as revenue, but revenue for where the interest was
Was it-
applied?
Yeah,
Like where
that's
you
kind of
got it
what I'm
from each
thinking.
So instead of being revenue
No.
here, he wasn't saying that? 'Cause
He
that
wants
was-
it to be dedicated back to those accounts, to be available in those accounts.
Right, I mean, I don't know why,
Not
I'm
spent
not an
somewhere
accountant,
else.
I'm not an accountant, so I don't understand the problem. I mean,
What are we getting?
I can see it being shown as revenue, because it is. But it should be applied to the account that earned it,
Hmm.
is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Rather than keep it as a, you know, just offset the general fund.
Yeah,
Whatever.
so right now it just offsets it's just going to pay for your operating budget. You could then allocate so much, instead of putting it into you're putting in the operating budget is what you're doing. Instead of putting it into that budget, you could put it into the different buckets.
I just,
Oh, the
Which is
individual
okay,
account
but
earns the
maybe
money
this
as
year we
first
should
stage.
follow through with what.
maybe we should follow through, but I'd like to revisit that, that certainly would, and I'd like to understand how Jenny does that, if she could just give us an idea, or,
Because 10,000 is a pretty big chunk to just make, yeah.
yeah, it's kinda like a.
If we budget it.
It becomes a slush fund at some point, which is a dirty word,
No,
but,
It's not cash, we reduced what we're raising in taxes.
right, I get that,
So
yep,
it's- Yeah,
yep.
but I'll ask
No,
Jenny and
it's
see what
so
she
that-
thinks, we'll get a plan together.
But,
it's so that it didn't just sit there and become a slush fund, that we did
Okay.
it.
okay,
Because it's been just allocated into that fund balance.
okay,
It would just sit there and roll.
Yep.
yeah, well,
We thought-
I am glad that we're
Talk.
Discuss-
we were talking about revenue, because that's, frankly, that's where most of the big surplus came from.
For a kid.
It was, well, no, it's just we we
do
weren't paying
anything
attention
That-
to it.
Exactly.
Not doing some infrastructure improvements.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but it was, so surprising amount was revenue, was
Unanticipated.
unanticipated revenue, which I never would have thought of.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, it was, but all of a sudden,
Than the other one.
It wasn't, it
all of a
wasn't a
sudden, we
good
had,
problem. That's
we
all
had
the
a lot of
problem
money that
there.
we shouldn't have had. Okay, so everybody understand what we're doing?
Yep, we'll flush that down the line.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Fine.
Okay. Oh, I lost my agenda, sorry. MHG solar project,
I thought we missed one here, all our liquor licenses. Well, that's
they're
the
after,
project first.
they're next.
So this is similar to the project the board signed that letter, at the last meeting, I think it was. Same idea, this, MHG Solar wants to drop a solar array on Scotch Hill, that quarry that we just sold to
Glenn Roberts.
Mr. Roberts, yeah.
So what do we need to do here?
We just need to make a motion and have Bob sign this piece of paper.
What's the motion gonna be?
Yep.
Motion to sign the designation of preferred site by MHG Solar.
That's my motion.
Don't
Second.
wear it out.
Gotcha, Joe.
I'm not even-
There's no
You
copy
get
of
that clear?
I got as far as authorized, Bob.
Everybody understand what we're doing? We're kinda just saying we're all right with it.
Request for preferred site status.
Yep.
By MGH Solar.
Nothing wrong with that.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
Best part about that, Bob, is most of it's out of sight completely.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea for those old sites, they're
I know.
treeless
The
and,
only thing is, I'm glad I'm not drilling the holes to put the post in.
Oh, we got a thing to do that.
yeah, I'm sure.
You got me once, Jeff.
No, they've got a thing that'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever they're
Remember
drilling.
over at Mr. Adams's when we pushed up the post for the new pole barn?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Eddie.
Yeah, the cement silo.
How many kilowatts is that?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
It does not say.
500, proposed 500 kilowatt
Is it?
meter.
No, I just wondered, what is a piece of paper called? Take a request.
Yeah, sure.
They never put a picture of guns in there.
Something that designates.
Oh, there it is, I missed it, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't think it's, sorry about that. Liquor licenses, that time of year, another sure sign of spring.
We're halfway through, Bob.
One additional application came in from Walgreens, and they're asking for a second class.
Do we have to have individual motions for everyone, or can we do
Last year you did one by one.
one by one?
Yeah.
Motion
Let 'em
to
go.
accept Fairhaven American Legion Post 49 first class
Sounds-
license.
Second,
Is that there?
They should be in order.
They should be in order?
Which one? Which one did you say?
we're doing
Legion.
Fairhaven American Legion Post 49.
I made it, he seconded it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? What's next?
Eagles.
Eagle?
Motion to approve a first class liquor license for Fairhaven Eagles.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Motion to approve a second class liquor license for Maple Fields at Fairhaven.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve a second class liquor license for Shaw's Beer and Wine.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Motion to approve a second class for Stewart Shops.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Motion, there was one extra one added. Is that this one?
This is.
American Legion?
Walgreens?
We did, I think we already did,
Third
the-
class.
we did,
He did.
we did post 49 already.
They have two. They have an outside consumption as well.
Oh, okay.
But this is,
Oh, yeah, very good.
You added a Walgreens in that second one.
but it's gonna be at the
Oh,
end,
yeah.
I think.
This is Walgreens.
Okay.
right?
So motion, and that's the second class, right?
That's the second class.
Motion to approve a second class liquor license for Walgreens, Fairhaven.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay, motion to approve third class liquor license for Fairhaven Legion Post 49.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Those opposed?
Aye. Sorry. Little late. Motion to approve a third class liquor license for Fairhaven Eagles.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
And third class just means outside
That's the outside consumption.
consumption.
Okay, I've got 8, 126, 7 here. 1, 2.
All this
Oh,
sign,
there's-
all this sign is making me
I
thirsty.
think the others, a couple that have the
Yeah.
two, the outside.
Well, I had one more, but I didn't have one.
Okay.
Count the one.
Got any more, Bob?
I think that's all of
That's
them.
it.
That was it.
Made me thirsty.
The next is the,
Do you want that one?
all right, we all good?
Yep.
Next thing is the review and approval of the mailbox replacement policy.
That's it.
Well, I got some changes if anybody wanted to hear, listen to them.
Do we have to, but I'm sure we will.
Well, policy objectives, number 1, provide for fair and equitable reimbursement of the cost of a damaged mailbox and post of, if damaged, when damage is a result of direct contact with the town vehicle. I just added post in there too, because it could be.
I think that makes sense.
And two, to ensure that prior to the reimbursement of a damaged mailbox and post if included in the damage, the cause of the damage is established. And to establish a maximum replacement cost and standards for replacement of a damaged mailbox and post. You know, you gotta kind of just kept it the same. And down in number two, and it says in here, condition of the mailbox and post, and if the town manager and DPW and superintendent determine that the mailbox damage is a result of a direct contact from a town vehicle, and that's kinda, language is kinda difficult there, it's not quite right. And take the V, not the result of other factors such as a decayed post or the accumulation of snow on the owner of the mailbox shall be entitled to a maximum reimbursement of $50. Well, if the post is involved, I'd make it $80. That's all I'd say.
No
Home
idea.
Depot
And-
gonna charge you $30 for one of those things that goes in the ground.
And the logic being, your logic being that the mailbox and post couldn't be replaced for $50 in some cases?
Right. Because the mailbox is gonna run that much,
I'm,
some of them.
I know that when we looked, when we took this one here, I took the, this from one of the other towns. This is a policy from, I think, Berlin. And they had $40 there. And I looked at it and I says, we'll probably put this policy in 30 years from now. $40 probably won't get it done. So I put an additional $10 on it. Right? And so I changed $50 here. When John is saying that may not
Cover the post.
cover the post and that too. Do we put a little more there?
If you put 80, your maximum exposure is
Maximum-
still $80.
All with the intent was just
And that
get a
won't be
maximum
right 20 years from now either, but.
$80. I don't have a problem if there's nothing magical about the amount. 80
John's mailbox costs $79.99.
No, I did not. In fact, I'll have you know, Jeffrey, I
I'm
did not
kidding
buy
you.
the most
That was-
expensive one I could
That
have
was
bought.
obnoxious, I'm sorry.
Joe was happy.
Sarcastic.
It's in this package.
You wanna
Okay. Anything else? Any
bump
other
that to 80,
input
then
there?
everybody's good with
80's
that?
And then if, number
What do we do, like
7,
2 a year?
effect,
Yeah.
no section of this policy shall be construed to supersede or replace any Vermont statute or postal regulation. I added in there because that should be there too.
Or, so it's after the first sentence you want,
You're gonna bring us back to,
I'll bring it back.
Postal
or
regulations.
postal regulations.
We don't have the right to tell anybody where they're gonna put their post office box.
no.
Postmaster will do that.
You know what we,
I gave
We can
Joe,
recommend.
well, you were there, Jeff, that night, I gave him the copy of the regulations.
yeah, I saw that, but I wondered, should we even address it? We aren't putting it back up for them. We're only reimbursing.
Right, but
That's
still,
all this policy is doing, is reimbursing the cost.
I just wouldn't wanna get involved in it.
It's formalizing that, and at our last meeting, when we talked about, we've done different things in the past, that, it's covered in 5, where
Yep.
it says, doesn't really matter what you've done in the past, going forward, this
is
is the
it.
policy,
This
this is
is
the
it.
policy. Let's move on.
I'm
You
all
notice I
for
didn't-
that.
you Notice I didn't change that one?
So you bring us a clean version next time around?
I will. So there were,
You want mine?
there were some, boxes on the copy that I gave you though. It says some edits about saying instead of town vehicle, town action.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is the board
Yeah.
okay with that? Cause
Yep.
it might not be a truck sometimes. It could be something else.
Could be a sidewalk
Plug
pole.
in those that
Your
you
numbers
had
are
in
fine.
his and bring it in for a final review.
All
We're
right,
good.
yep, we'll bring it in at the next meeting.
Maybe we may rip it apart next time.
Appeal, everything on the backside of the appeal is all cool. Okay. Moving right along. We may actually put that to bed. I'm hoping.
That's 4 meetings, by the way.
Yeah, and one more coming. Greater change and ditch box purchase.
Too late.
We did get the grader change, we did get the change for the grader. So we need to pay for those, but the town is also, Sam has reached out to, I shouldn't say the town, Sam reached out to Poultney Village and the town of Poultney to see if they would like to split the cost of the ditch box. Our current ditch box, from what I understand, is too
Too
low, yes, I was gonna say
low.
short,
Doesn't
but
come up out of
it's,
the ground far enough when you're
yeah,
down.
and it's not compliant with OSHA regulations.
Right, and you can't get parts for it anymore either.
Doesn't that just depend on how deep the hole is?
Yeah, but if you're gonna, a hole that's 8 foot deep, you gotta have a 12 foot high, or 10 foot high ditch box.
But are we always, like, okay,
We always ran into the issue of getting a bigger ditch box.
Can't move
We
it.
couldn't move it.
Well, we can now.
We got the.
Excavator.
Not the new
excavator.
excavator.
but they were gonna get an aluminum one last time I checked.
You can now. I
They were
think this
talking
is,
about pricing out aluminum ones, then they still could move it pretty easy, right?
you don't wanna even think about trying to move a steel one. Good lord.
The only question I had when I saw this one here was, do we have a lot of ditch work? And-
Yeah, every
and
time
if
you
we
dig a
do,
water
and we
line,
go halves
sewer
with
line.
Poultney, are we going to be trying to barter time of using the ditch box and for the, even though it's $8,000 is what it looks like, and for the $4,000, how much,
Are you
if it's gonna have a lot of use, why, I don't know if I wanna go.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
I
is,
usually wanna save money, but
he makes,
I don't wanna,
Glenn makes a good case with, if it's here and we need it, we got it.
My question was, where was it in the capital budget? We didn't talk about it at all. It wasn't even on the radar.
Yeah, where's the money coming
But-
from for this?
Joe said it came from a safety meeting, so that,
Oh, no, I
Right.
did, no, Jared didn't, no.
sorry, I thought that's what we talked
So
about.
our crew did go to a training, and they did hear that there were a few things that needed to be done.
Okay.
Yes.
My
but
mistake.
We have our own safety meetings here, and we didn't talk about that.
No, but then it came from an outside.
I'm sorry, yes.
That the height
I
wasn't.
still wanna know where the
Just
money, I still wanna know where the money's coming from.
I would propose the DPW equipment fund.
Okay, and we have it?
Well,
And is 8,000 the modular box that Aaron spec'd us out a box?
We
that
can
was-
add sections.
It was definitely aluminum. It could change shape a little bit.
Yes.
So you could open sections and work on a water line really effectively.
Yep.
I just want to make sure we're getting the right thing.
I can't speak to that. From what I understand, it's a lightweight ditch box that DPW needs. I don't have the specifications.
It is
Well-
compliant with all regulations.
That's what I
OSHA, OSHA.
Yeah,
I could bring more information at the next meeting.
I think that we don't have any choice. I mean, we almost killed a couple of people,
But let's get the right
you
thing.
know.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not because of the ditch box.
No,
Because it
No.
wasn't used.
No, because it wasn't there.
But
But,
it wasn't there because it wasn't compliant or anything like that.
no, it was there, it wasn't there because it's uncomfortable to use, you know.
It was
Which is gonna be
too
the same
small.
thing with this
That's
new
the
one.
very nature of
Sticking
the
my
safety.
craw forever and a day.
I know, the problem is we didn't use it. You know, that's the
But
problem.
not because it wasn't
Available.
useful or available or anything
Right,
like
right.
that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It was on the trailer, could have been brought up there.
But my point is that we need a ditch box and we gotta have it available as soon as we can. I'm not, I'm with Glenn on not wanting to share something that we may need in the middle of the night and it may be
Somewhere
importantly
else.
in a ditch.
In a ditch somewhere they're working, I'm just saying, unless we don't anticipate a lot of,
Yeah, we,
and it's a piece of equipment that you shouldn't even think about going in a ditch without one.
right, and you only have a finite amount of time to do any ditching. And so it's gonna be, when we need it, like John said, when we need it, we need it.
Can't.
I don't think we
Can't go
can get
without it.
away without having our own.
But I
mean,
wanna
it's-
see-
I'm glad Sam was trying to think of a way to save money, but,
Glenn?
I mean, I don't know what you
Put
guys,
homeless people in
think.
I-
mean,
I keep it
I know
here for
what you
ourselves.
think.
it. I think we need it for ourselves, period. I'm not being
as
stingy with
long as it
Poultney,
does
but
everything that we
Right,
need it to do.
right, it's gotta be
had
the
a
right thing.
horrible experience once and we don't
And-
ever
But
need that.
once again, I will say that something comes to this board every meeting
That was
that's not in our list.
No,
That's okay.
Just a little frustrating.
It's not.
yeah.
No, but I'm telling you, this time.
This one, and we say that every time, this one we needed.
Well,
but every time we spend more money.
Yep.
And it's not that I don't support public works.
but
it's
this
that-
is genuine safety.
Yeah,
So, we just got done, I'm sorry to interrupt. We just got done with the budget, and here in town hall, we realized we need some computers, and we budgeted for that, and now that money will come in July. We could have said, I need $12,000,
Is that what the price is?
its total would be 12,000. I
I
need
thought-
$12,000
how
for
did we
ditch
get
boxes.
4,000
And
there?
then we could redeposit, we could spend it and then redeposit it in July. This wasn't talked about, and
No, it wasn't.
but it should have been, and I can see it hasn't come up yet, but, springtime is coming and I expect to hear, I need a new mower. We didn't talk about it, but I'm waiting for that roadside mower, saying it's too dangerous, we gotta get a roadside mower. And that's another $16,000 that just,
Well, I ain't gonna have it.
we should budget for this stuff.
Yeah, and
Joel-
you're right about that.
Joel, I'm gonna make this
Capital
statement
budget.
once.
really just making
If
a
we
point.
can't use that
And I
roadside mower,
don't want
then we'll put it
anybody
out to
working
bid.
in unsafe condition.
Right.
Let somebody else come in and mow it.
Saying that.
Well, we didn't have very good luck with that last year.
Well, you gotta get in early.
I
We
also,
do.
You gotta get in into April, if that's gonna happen.
Let's get back to.
pre-excavator, I figured we hired out most of our work.
Mhm.
So it wasn't a huge deal if we were just like, hey, we'll get Doug Wood to come in and do our
Right.
deep ditch work.
Right.
But now you've got an excavator, you kinda gotta use it and use your guys.
Yep.
So probably better. But it's just one of those hidden costs
Yep, you're,
when you get into that sort of work.
Yeah, but Doug doesn't have a ditch box either.
Somebody in that field does though.
he can get it. But anyways, you're right. We didn't address that.
But Joel's got a point, we just can't keep.
But let's get prices and
Yeah,
Can we pull some prices and see?
yeah.
it's 12, you said 12 or 6?
It sounded like 12.
12,288 is the number I have here.
Let's,
We were- My brother owns a truck, it was coming out of Michigan, so my brother said he'd load it in his truck and roll it over for us.
well, this is used?
No, it's new,
Oh,
but
That's-
it's
that's
made in
the-
Michigan. so-
That's
you're
why
saving
your,
some-
that's why your brother's coming to visit you.
brother and cousin, both in this meeting.
I know, look at that, man.
Um,
Look at the Gunter family.
Well,
but we still must need to go to bid for 12,000.
For that, we would, yes.
So it's
How many
not
companies
something
have
we're
it?
doing tonight. We can
No.
authorize you to go to bid.
we can authorize to see what we got for what it's gonna be and make
Right.
sure that everybody's happy with what it is. And then we gotta expedite it, I think. I really don't think we have a choice.
And what are we doing with the old ditch box? Gonna keep it for small jobs?
Good.
Might just as well.
Here.
It's probably not
Well,
something,
if this is
and
the,
scrap metal isn't worth a damn right now.
if this is the modular box, I
Think
think it
about
is, it goes up and down based
Mhm.
on the size of the job.
Well,
So maybe we can sell
maybe.
Maybe we could sell the old box.
Get something for it.
I can't imagine they depreciate in value, there's no real.
They're the same thing.
Give Pontley a good deal on it.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
they're looking for a ditch box.
Well, the trouble is, they got sewer pipes down there, they're 14 foot in the ground too.
All right, so we're moving on from that. We are, now, the greater change, let's talk, I'm sorry, we kinda skipped
There
over
isn't
that.
somebody like, Fabian or, that would just rent us a box when we needed it.
They got steel.
Once again,
Just asking.
yeah,
questions.
I'm just worried that it would be very convenient to not bother.
That we go dig a hole and not use the ditch box that we, they
I
should.
don't, or it's an emergency and we gotta get in and dig the water line up that's blowing water all over and rather than wait for Fabian to open up in the morning, we just start digging and,
Yep.
you know, I just don't wanna have any excuses. I think we need to have that on site, so everybody understands
No,
I mean,
based on
the
our
guys-
history, I get that.
the guys know what could happen, so they should be a little more aware of that. But I don't wanna have any excuses for not.
Okay.
Me, I'm saying me, I don't mean that, I don't mean.
We
to-
don't ever need a
I hear you. Last
situation
thing I
again.
wanna do is try to.
We dodged a bullet that time, we really did.
I thought we caught it square in the face.
Yeah, in the chest.
Chest, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Face
We
down.
did, and it,
There wasn't a whole lot of dodging to that.
no.
If the road,
Thank
part
God
of
we
the
can
road
laugh,
was on top of
thank
it.
God we can laugh about it, that's all I can say.
Hey,
It was
I didn't
not
think
good.
we'd ever get out of that.
Well,
Do you need an
anyway,
authorization for the chains?
the change.
I do, yes,
Yeah.
from the capital reserve fund.
How much?
Yeah, $1,800.
Making that motion?
Sure, they're already here.
I'll second that motion.
Everybody understand what we're doing? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
I just bought some checks, okay.
And I did, so the folks that live on Bigelow Hill said thank you. They were very, very appreciative.
My God, I can't imagine that.
Well,
It does seem to be working out quite well over there.
Good.
Good, I mean, it should work. Okay, the parking lot issues, mailbox we talking about, we still haven't talked about the
Cap reserve funds?
reserve
When are we
and
gonna,
the
when are we gonna do
firearms.
that, Joe?
What's that?
Cap reserve funds.
I think we wait for the new board,
Yeah.
you know, so
Firearms,
everybody's
yeah.
on board there.
The way you're taking down the reserve funds, we probably don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you probably aren't.
Yeah,
hitting the
yeah,
cap.
yeah, there won't- yeah,
Actually, what's left
Exactly.
on the parking lot could be all mixed board anyway.
yeah.
I like
The bridge
that.
replacement we spoke of,
That
personnel
lots.
policy, we're working on it. What do you have about Lewis Lane? They are doing some inquiries themselves. Do you, by any chance, have a phone number for Bud?
Panushik?
Yeah,
I can get it.
They-
Have a cell
okay.
phone.
yeah, because they wanna talk to Bud, they thought that it was already done. And they wanted to talk to Bud about it, and I don't have a problem with them
Do
talking
you,
about it.
I don't remember anything when I was here.
I don't remember either. I think it just kind of was one of those things that we just, sorry, you gotta get it, oh, shoot. I lost it. Get me back. Not exactly handy. Yeah, thanks.
You can always ask Surrey.
Bud Panushik's phone number.
Those guys are gonna call.
Yeah.
They're gonna call and just talk to him about it and see if they can get any kind of idea, but they're not in any uproar or anything worried about it, and we either do or we don't.
Be easier to catch him down the way.
And I think our deal is we have to make sure it's up to spec, and if it isn't, they have to put it up to spec or we don't take the road. That's the way it works. I mean, we can take any road.
Are there grant dollars to help with any of that?
I haven't looked, but I would have to say no.
Probably not.
Fixing private roads, I can't imagine there's anybody throwing money at that.
Yeah, I
I
would
can't
bet
get money
not.
for our roads.
Yeah, good point.
The first part
That
where it
makes
goes up, Bob, that road where it goes up and turns left to go back where Reggie Goddard used to live,
Mhm.
it's got a lot of gravel in it. But from there on, I don't know what's in it.
Well, I think that's
Don't
part
remember-
of, that's certainly part of the
We
negotiation.
had some pavement
Yeah.
left over one time and we did that road and they didn't want it paved and we dug it up and put it in the down behind town garage.
Okay. I don't remember that, but I don't doubt it either. Okay, so more to come on that. Board roundtable, Glenn.
Only have a couple things. I got a phone call from Mr. Gay about a water bill issue, and he had a high bill, doesn't agree with the response that he still, says that after it was investigated, and he did, and jump in anytime you want, Joe, if I'm missing anything, but doesn't agree that the bill basically was saying, no, it's where you are, and was asking about the appeal process, because we are the Water and Sewer Commissioners. And I don't know if he gave you a call today. Didn't give you a call, because I told him you should call Joe and set up a time, and that's the,
Yeah, it's in the water and sewer ordinance about what we do, and
And,
he has to come before.
and in full disclosure on that, he's not the only one. I have a family member who is going through an issue of twice the water bill and trying to work through that so that I think we'll see more appeals, so I just want us to, maybe make sure we're up to speed on the appeal process.
And that we have our ducks in a row about the,
That,
I definitely had a toilet that was trickling and it doubled my household water bill.
It doesn't take much.
It does not take much. You can't hear them. I mean,
that, right, I'm just, so,
the old
There's-
solution, go ahead. The old solution was turn the light off, shine a flashlight in the tank.
food coloring.
Food
Just a little bit of food
and,
coloring.
and in both cases that I'm aware of, they brought plumbers in and everything else and could not find any leaks.
The other thing is read the meter, shut the
Everything.
main off, and see what it does.
They've done those.
Oh.
They've done multiple, Will, I don't wanna jump in because when they come and appeal, we'll follow the process.
Yeah.
I'm
We'll
not
follow
saying
the
that the
process.
meter's not. Can't
I
be
can
inaccurate.
sit here, I'm telling you, I'm sitting here as a board member. If someone asked me, am I 100% confident that our billing process is working? I couldn't tell you I'm 100% confident
No.
that we're there. So I think that's the reason you have a process. That you come back and look, sometimes stuff happens. Other item I had were, I see the sidewalks, we got them down here. This is the first snowstorm, I see Dutton Avenue sidewalks didn't get done. I don't know if they got doing the ones, the major ones around town and forgot, but Dutton Avenue, I could easily have happened that they got making sure they had the majority ones going to the grade school and didn't do Dutton Avenue, but
I saw Sam over the weekend and he was stretched thin.
that's why,
I don't know if it was, because he has been making those sidewalks a priority.
but before we get these freeze coming in here at the end of this week,
Clean it
if
up.
we need to, if there's any cleanup on even on some of our existing sidewalks, that's all I have.
Because I think they had a truck down this weekend.
Yeah, we do have a truck down. But the sidewalks are a priority and we're working to clean those up.
Well, it's a touchy subject. Main Street. Plowed with all the snow up against the curb. And the wooden soldier all the way around to the, whatever that new restaurant is. The sidewalk wasn't cleaned off. And I had to help a lady get her clothes into the laundromat. And I had to go home and get a shovel and shovel the sidewalk part out so she could get through that to get into the laundromat. And then over on Liberty Street, when we plowed that, we plowed the snow right up against Mr. Wilson's barber shop door and against Mr. Tomasi's door on Tomasi's Grill. And that Mr. Tomasi was, well, I guess you'd call it livid.
trust me, he was.
Just normal, like we drove by with a
Just
plow
plowed it with a
truck.
wing plow right up against the door. Never done that before.
Yeah, we.
How do we usually do it?
Scoop
I don't
it up,
know how we
take it
do
away.
it.
Plow it the other way out in the middle of the street, scoop it up and get it out of there.
However we did it, it was different.
I don't know.
I went up Saturday morning because I got the
Hey.
phone call, Friday and I got, we're friends, but
I'm
I got talked to like I wasn't a friend.
He was still ragged when I talked to him. in the
Yeah,
afternoon.
and he had it's a legitimate complaint that
Yeah.
literally
To get really blown.
the bank is right up, the snowbank, it's like, if it was somebody's driveway, I would be okay,
Right.
that's the way it is. But it's their place of business,
Putting her to the door
and
handle.
it was right up on the steps, it was, and they literally hired a kid to, chuck it out every time they went by, so the kid would come back. Kid was back 3 or 4 times, I mean, they were cleaning the street, but in the meantime, they were putting it up against 2 businesses. And I don't know, generally, when that happens, Liberty Street gets hammered too, so I don't know if, I haven't heard from Steve, but,
He'd tell you.
yeah, I know. I mean, he lives across the road from me, but I've heard.
And I chalk this up to inexperienced people, new people doing it.
New and learning.
That's what I said
Probably.
too, but it's, it was noticeable.
But they must take the payloader up and just clean it out. Like
Yeah.
they must push
Down towards,
one time down
go
through.
down the hill.
And then clean it with the payloader? When they go up and do Main Street?
I
No, they
don't,
throw it in the middle and they take the bucket loader and take it down.
I don't know what they did, but they didn't,
I don't know,
and they didn't do it.
That's what Dickie Reed did.
but they didn't do it.
It was,
Okay.
it was difficult. It was, in a way, it was almost, looked like it would be hard to do because you had to, you dodge his steps that go
Steps and the awning
upstairs
and-
in that awning that he has there.
That's not a pay, that's not.
Anyways, I mean, I don't think it was on purpose. I really think it was
I wonder-
inexperience.
I wonder if they move trucks around.
Could be, I mean, whatever it
Like
was.
maybe they plow it with a
Well,
one,
they got their own rules, but if, like Joe said, if it's a truck
they have
down,
a truck down.
maybe
Truck
somebody
down, they
did
used a
something
different
different.
truck that they had.
I feel like I'm making a lot of excuses. I have no
Well,
idea. what
Right,
I'm
well,
talking
they
I-
work, I get
this
it, they
one-
work hard, but
Yeah,
open the streets and they're doing overall with the storms, they're
Right.
doing a great job. And
Yeah,
I just think we got some growing pains and
I just,
we're gonna have to work through them.
yeah, and I just, it was a noticeable thing in, for all that Danielle runs that business and she was livid. She's usually pretty calm about everything.
Then I got one
She's a
other-
cobble. She deals with stuff pretty easily. But she was not happy and it was legitimate. I mean, they were open. And, there's no better place to be when you can't do anything but playing pool in a bar, so. They were open, they made good money, but they couldn't get people in there sometimes. It
We
was,
had a mass exodus of experience in the last
Right.
year and a half, so this is really
And
the first.
then I had one other thing, and Joe's aware of it, and Bill came in and told Joe about it, but we had a little inexperience out back here on the building where the fuel oil tank is, where the fill is. Had a big cover from a storm drain on that about, I don't know, that high probably. Hiding the fill was in the center. And of course it was all buried in the snow and that all left in the truck. Or maybe out back or something somewhere, but in the meantime, our fill pipe is broke off in the fuel tank. And Nate, I guess, is trying to fix it, so, again, you just have to chalk it up to inexperienced people don't know what's there or where it is.
He's at least got it covered with something now, so we're not getting water.
Can't even see if there was a pipe there.
That's down the ground about,
So the new guy came in to remove the snow in the parking area and there was so much snow come off the roof
yeah, I couldn't
that
find
the
it.
concrete barrier was covered, so he came in and scooped up.
I'll move the whole barrier.
The barrier's gone and the.
Pipe too.
Disappeared.
That's what I laugh about it.
We didn't
I think
notice,
it's in this snowbank right here.
we didn't notice a
Be there in the
Jersey.
spring.
It's,
Be there in the
you'll
spring.
find it.
It's out here, it's back here, yes.
Joe,
It's all right, it didn't go far.
it'll be there in the snow melt.
Well,
The positive thing though is we're replacing that fuel tank. I'm looking on the bright side. We're replacing that fuel tank, so
I'll give you that.
we'll patch it up.
what you got?
Nothing, that's enough.
Yeah. Having said all the criticisms, a citizen who generally is extremely critical of the work that DPW does was really happy with the way they were taking care of his road. I wanted to end on a positive note, but I just thought of something else. Sorry. But anyways, he's very happy. He loves the idea of the brine.
Oh.
He thinks that's, and I think it is working well. I think it really helps. You may want to do some. He does a lot of work over in New York State, and he said that they're having trouble getting brine. Their purveyor one purveyor went out, and they're investigating making their own. It's a machine that costs $42,000, but you go from paying 25 or 30 cents a gallon to 7.
Oh, that's a big savings.
So you know, so I don't want to say we added to our list of.
Joe,
Put
But
that
it
on my
shouldn't
list.
Joe,
be
put that in your
that
bucket
expensive
list for
to
the
just
next
get
budget.
some of the parts, like maybe you could get,
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know it with the machine that they, anyways, he was very positive. Having said that, I forgot about Town Highway 29,
where's that hiding?
Yeah, which one is this?
It's
Is that off of South Main?
Bill, Roofer, what's his name?
BB.
Beebe.
Oh,
Bill
Oh,
Beebe.
yeah.
Did we not?
It
Off
is.
River Street.
Yeah, we are not, we have missed or driven by that several times. They're not happy.
Okay.
So,
It's one good, one
That is a
bad.
town road. and we
That is
need
a
to take
town
care
road and they
And
need
there's
to,
a couple residences out there.
of it.
they need to be taken care of.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I expect to ever get a cup of coffee at Maple Fields again,
We better
Oh.
get that done.
Mrs. BB got a hold of
I
you.
haven't been in there in a few days, that's why I haven't.
you will. Anyways,
First thing in the morning, early.
real positive
Yeah.
about the brine and the road.
I think it worked all right.
I think it's working well. I think
We
got
actually used it, I think, when we were out of salt there. We put brine right on the road.
well, that's what you do.
I think the brand
Okay.
is pretty good. In the small storms, I think it does a great job.
Yeah, it really
That's
does.
the thing, in small storms, it just,
It also takes a little logistical thinking,
Yep,
to, you gotta, and
You
the
gotta be
weather has
ahead
to
of it.
cooperate with you.
you have to be ahead of it and you have to be,
Well, we've done a pretty good job of that.
He's
looks like.
doing pretty good, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
financials.
Checkbook was real high, $1,478,714.50.
Do we have a payment?
Must be a school payment coming.
it is, and then tax day was Monday.
Right.
Oh, I was in here yesterday and there were people rolling in here.
Yeah, no, yesterday was the day, so
Yeah.
that's why.
Do we need an escalator going up the hall or?
Something.
Motion to pay the general fund warrant, $65,923.61.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Motion to pay the payroll warrant, $33,215.04.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You just voted to pay yourselves.
Good job. I
Okay.
didn't turn my thing in yet.
Well,
So
then
did the
everybody
next
but you. I forgot that I had to turn it in. I was accosted yesterday. Okay.
Glenn has his with him tonight.
I turned mine in when I came in.
Did you fill in both sheets or just the one?
The one on the back.
Okay.
Just
The
to
one on the
go
back,
back.
yeah. Sign it and
That's
give it to
numbers.
I got a second one in my box too.
Yeah, it's because you didn't fill out the first
Because
one.
it's
That's what happened to
different
me.
than what you've got here, right?
Okay, moving right along, we have an executive session coming up here. So I would entertain a motion for,
And that will
Are we going in for all three or we?
yes.
Okay.
We'll include
A
everything.
motion to go into executive session for solid waste contract, 1 VSA 313A1. And also for personnel, 1 VSA 313A3.
Yeah, for the negotiating.
And for the real estate as well, which we don't
Well,
have.
yeah, we don't have anything for that.
VSA, same VSA, 313.
I've got the number.
VSA 313,
Yeah.
A2.
What was it?
A2,
A3 for VSA personnel.
okay? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We